if you're into personal development, emotional healing, spiritual work, that kind of thing, you've doubtless heard everybody talking about allowing and accepting your experience, letting it be as it is. And they're not wrong. It is true that that is the source of transformation, when we can really let parts of us, emotions and thoughts and feelings, be as they are. They feel held and they relax and they transmute. It's a beautiful thing. However, how people do this and the instructions people are given, I find are a bit limited. The problem goes something like this, is that people say, just allow your experience, just let it be as it is. Just do it. Just snap your fingers and just allow your experience. And in my experience, it doesn't work like this, because what you end up doing is kind of gaslighting yourself. You have to kind of lie to yourself. Say you've got some intense pain, physical pain somewhere in your body, and an instruction you might get is like, just accept the pain, just let it be as it is. And you're kind of sitting there in meditation or in a session or whatever, and you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna try, and you're trying to use your willpower or to convince yourself that it's okay that this pain is here. But the reality is that you're not okay with this pain, and that you don't like it, and that you wish it was gone 99% of the time, right? So you're simply lying to yourself, or you're trying to bullshit yourself into accepting the pain. And this could go for anything else, like various emotions or whatever emotions, sensations, thoughts, etc. So there's a problem here, and this is why it doesn't work very well. So I want to give you a clearer instruction or understanding of this process of accepting your experience. So the way I see it is that you have some basic experience, like in this case, the physical pain, but then you have kind of like a pyramid of psycho-emotional reactivity. So you have different emotions and thoughts, and then you have parts that come in to react to those emotions and thoughts, and you have parts that come in to react to those emotions and thoughts. So here you might have the physical pain, and then you might have a profound sense of helplessness, right? Because you don't know what to do with that pain. You don't like it, it hurts, but it's not going away, and you have no resources or knowledge you can use. And it creates this real sense of helplessness. But this is so threatening that you instantly, there's no way that helplessness is even coming up for a moment. Anger will instantly come in. Frustration will instantly come in to protect against that helplessness. And that's kind of the next layer of the pyramid. That anger comes in to help you to sort of take control of that situation, or that's what that emotion is trying to do. But then maybe you've been taught, you're not very used to allowing your anger or frustration. So maybe some shame comes in. You're ashamed of the fact that you're angry at the situation. You should be way beyond this. Getting upset at physical pain. You should be able to relax and allow it, and so on and so forth. We get sort of this shame controls that anger, and it can go on and on like this pretty much infinitely. You could have another reaction to that shame in some way. Maybe the shame is painful, so you distract yourself by watching YouTube way too much. I definitely don't do that. And then, that kicks off some other set of reactions. The key message I want to convey is that we can't ever really authentically allow that pain unless we've sort of gone through this pyramid. Because the only part of the pyramid that's really accessible is like the top. There will be a sort of a top layer somewhere, which is your freshest, most recent layer of reaction. So let's take a simple example and say we had the pain, and then there's helplessness, and then there's anger, and then there's shame. Maybe say it's okay to feel the shame. That's the most sort of the freshest layer. And what you want to do is always turn your attention towards that top layer that's actually accessible, because that's the only part of your experience that you can actually allow, right? There's always one little layer, one little corner of your experience where it's okay to allow, and the rest is, you don't want in some way. And it's important to acknowledge that and to go to the only place where we can go. And in this example, it's maybe that shame. We can maybe say, it's okay, I'm ashamed of the fact that I'm frustrated at this situation. And you notice where you feel that shame in your body. Maybe it's heavy in the chest. And I've talked a lot about how to feel and process emotions in my other videos, so I won't go into it in much detail here. Just go check out my my other videos. But as you accept and allow that one part that you can accept and allow, that's when that part starts to relax. And that's the principle all everyone else is talking about. As you can accept and allow that part, it does transform and transmute. And then you can drop down to the layer below that. Then maybe you can start to allow that anger, because you've processed some of that shame around it. Now there's a bit of space to allow some of that frustration and that annoyance. And then you can let yourself feel and be with that frustration. Then as that transforms, then you can drop down into the helplessness, for example, and really let yourself feel the helplessness. And then you'll find quite naturally, as you've worked through these layers, from the one that's accessible to making your experience more and more allowed and accepted, then the pain itself, the relationship to the pain is completely different, because you don't have these layers of emotional reactivity, or at least they're not quite as strong, or at least they've been seen and acknowledged, right? And then you'll find that you're much more accepting and allowing of the pain just naturally. There's not some effort you have to put into it, which is, of course, the only way you cannot accept anything with effort. That's just, if you're trying to accept something, that precisely means you're resisting it and unconscious of the resistance, or resisting the resistance, or not wanting to look there. Otherwise, what effort would be required? You know what I mean? What possible effort would be required if you were truly accepting already of the situation? So it's always about admitting, okay, actually, I really don't like this pain. I don't want it to be here. It makes me feel helpless, angry, and ashamed. And fully allowing the layers of resistance. And as you fully allow that, it's honest. It's honest, it's true. And honesty and truth is just the cornerstone of all this stuff. It's like, what am I feeling? How am I relating to it? What is the truth of that? And so you want to really just, rather than striving to accept your experience, just be honest about how, I don't like this, I don't want that. And then work through the layers of this reactivity, of this resistance, starting from the top, from the freshest, most recent, most accessible layer. That is actually how you slowly move towards accepting your experience. And this can happen, this process operates at kind of a micro level, so just like a particular sensation, or at a kind of a macro level. This happens over the course of your life. As over the years, you'll sort of work through really big topics, really core identity structures or core fears in this same way. You'll just be very slowly working through different layers of kind of resistance or protection around that. Part of this is, as I always say, it's so important. These layers of protection or resistance. I kind of prefer the word protection because it makes it sound, these parts are really helping you, and it's important to be clear on that. They're not a bad thing, right? We get this sense that we shouldn't be feeling them, and that's why we resist them, and that's why we can't accept our experience, because we're resisting our resistance to our experience. So it's understanding, it helps to understand the ways in which these layers have protected us and are protecting us, and then really helping them to feel seen, heard, and felt. And that's when you start to move more and more towards accepting your experience. And yeah, just if people just, sometimes you hear people saying, oh, just let go of this. Oh, just accept that. It doesn't work, because even the fact that you're holding on to something, or would have to work to accept it, means that there is resistance in the system somewhere, and it's that to which we need to turn. 80% of this work is noticing those parts of us that are clinging on, pushing away, and so on and so forth. When those are met, the rest happens by itself. The feelings come up and are felt by themselves, or we accept our experience by itself, right? I hope that helps. If you need any help with this, I work with people one-on-one, guiding them through their experience and supporting them to feel their feelings. So just check out my website for more information on that, and I'll see you later.